The millionaire helped his pregnant black maid financially without knowing the baby was his. Subscribe and tell us where you're watching us from. Valeria Turner sat on the edge of the big, shiny bathtub in the huge Castillo mansion. She held a small stick in her hands, and her hands were shaking. The stick had two pink lines. It was a pregnancy test. Valeria was going to have a baby, but not just anyone's baby. The baby's father was Leonardo Castillo, the man she worked for, and he had no idea. 2 months ago, something happened that changed everything. Leonardo Castillo, a rich businessman, had been very sad. His mother had passed away, and he drank too much at a fancy dinner. Valeria, his housekeeper for 3 years, helped him up the stairs like she always did when he was tired. But that night, something was different. He was sad, and she wanted to comfort him. One thing led to another, and now Valeria was having his baby. A knock on the door made her jump. "Miss Turner?" Leonardo's deep voice came from the other side. "Are you okay? I heard something." Valeria quickly hid the test in her bag. "Yes, Mr. Castillo, just cleaning." The Castillo mansion was a beautiful house in Beverly Hills. Leonardo Castillo, who was 35 years old, was very smart, handsome, and super rich. He owned a big company called Castillo Technologies. Many women wanted to marry him, but after a bad divorce 5 years ago, he never wanted to get married again. "Valeria, I need your help with tonight's event," Leonardo said through the door. "The charity needs the menu confirmed." "Of course, sir. I'll be there in 5 minutes." Valeria looked at herself in the mirror. She wore plain clothes, always tied her brown hair in a bun, and never tried to get attention. But inside, she was scared. How could she keep working here while carrying such a big secret? When she went to Leonardo's office, he was on the phone, talking fast. He was wearing a fancy navy blue suit, and his black hair had little gray strands near his ears. He always looked so serious and strong. "Valeria," he said, hanging up the phone, "I need your opinion. I'm thinking of making this charity event happen every month, not just once a year. What do you think?" Valeria smiled. "That would be wonderful, sir. The kids love these events." Leonardo smiled back. His blue eyes sparkled when he smiled. "You always know the right thing to say. That's why I trust you so much." Valeria felt guilty. He trusted her, and she was hiding a big secret from him. "Mr. Castillo, she started, but she was interrupted. Camila Rojas, a beautiful blonde woman, walked in. She worked in public relations for Leonardo's company. She smiled sweetly at Leonardo and put a hand on his arm. "Leonardo, darling, the reporters are here." Valeria quietly stepped back. Camila was perfect for Leonardo, rich, stylish, and from his world. Valeria was just the housekeeper. For the rest of the day, Valeria made sure the event was perfect. Sick children from the hospital arrived, excited and happy. Leonardo smiled and played with them, showing his kind heart. Seeing him like this made Valeria's secret feel even heavier. "Valeria," Leonardo suddenly appeared beside her. "You look pale. Are you okay?" She forced a smile. "Just a little tired, sir." "You work too hard," he frowned. "Take some days off next week." "That won't be necessary." Suddenly, she felt sick and leaned against a wall. Leonardo grabbed her arm, worried. "That's not a request. You need to rest. Actually, I want my doctor to check on you. I'll make an appointment." Valeria panicked. A doctor would find out she was pregnant. "Mr. Castillo, really, there's no need. It's just a small illness." Leonardo looked at her with serious eyes. "Valeria, you are more than just an employee. You're practically family. Let me take care of you." Family. The word hit her heart. If only he knew that soon he would have real family. A baby. A week after the charity event, Valeria sat nervously in a doctor's office. Dr. Harrison, an old man with gentle eyes, looked at her test results. "Congratulations, Miss Turner. You are about 9 weeks pregnant." Valeria already knew, but hearing it out loud made her stomach twist. "Doctor, please, this must be a secret." The doctor nodded. "I have been the Castillo family doctor for 20 years. I always keep secrets." Leaving the office, Valeria saw her phone light up with messages from Leonardo. How was the doctor? I need to know if you're okay. Valeria took a deep breath and texted back. Just anemia, sir. Nothing serious. Leonardo's reply came right away. Come to my office. We need to talk. Valeria arrived at Castillo Technologies, a huge glass building in the middle of the city. She didn't belong here. Everyone in suits looked at her strangely. Camila saw her. What a surprise. Leonardo is in a meeting, but I see he's been very protective of you lately. Before Valeria could answer, Leonardo walked out of his office. He saw her and immediately softened. Camila, let's move our meeting to tomorrow. Camila's smile was fake, and her eyes were cold as she left. Leonardo led Valeria into his big office with huge windows. Instead of sitting at his big desk, he sat next to her on the sofa. Anemia? He asked. Valeria, I know when someone is hiding something. Mr. Castillo. Leonardo, he corrected gently. After 3 years, we don't need to be so formal, especially when we're alone. His warmth, his kindness. It was too much. She couldn't lie anymore. Leonardo, I need to tell you something. He leaned closer. I'm listening. Valeria took a deep breath. I'm pregnant. Silence. Leonardo's face changed, first surprise, then concern, then something she couldn't understand. That explains a lot, he finally said, running a hand through his hair. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Valeria bit her lip. It's complicated. The father. Is he in your life? Leonardo asked carefully. Valeria felt tears in her eyes. Not exactly. Then he's an idiot, Leonardo said firmly. Valeria, I will support you. I'll raise your salary, get you the best doctor, and we'll make a room for the baby at the mansion. Valeria shook her head. Leonardo, I can't accept that. Why not? He looked confused. You've been by my side for years. You helped me through my hardest moments. The mention of that night made Valeria stand up quickly. I have to go back to work. Leonardo gently caught her wrist. Valeria, is there something else you're not telling me? She looked around his office. Pictures of him with rich people, famous people, powerful people. Valeria was in a world so different from her own. No, sir, I don't feel right taking so much, she said. Then think of it as a gift for your child's future, Leonardo insisted. Every child deserves the best start in life. Valeria almost wanted to laugh or cry. It was funny in a sad way. Her baby would have a great future. He was a Castillo, after all, even if his father didn't know yet. I'll think about it, she said. As she was leaving, Leonardo called after her. Whatever you decide, remember you're not alone. Valeria stepped into the elevator. She let her tears fall. Leonardo was so kind, so generous, but it only made things harder. What would he do if he found out the man who got his housekeeper pregnant was himself? In the lobby, Camila was waiting. She saw Valeria's tears right away. Trouble in paradise? Camila asked. Valeria didn't answer. She just wanted to leave. You know, Leonardo can be very generous when he wants to be, Camila said. But he can also be very harsh when he feels betrayed. Just something to think about. Valeria left quickly. The sun in Los Angeles felt extra hot that day. The tall buildings with their shiny windows felt like they were watching her, judging her. Back in her small apartment in Silver Lake, very different from the big mansion she worked in, Valeria touched her belly. What are we going to do, little one? She whispered. How will I tell your dad who you really are? Her phone buzzed. A message from Leonardo. I found some great schools nearby. Can we talk about it over dinner tomorrow? Valeria closed her eyes. She felt heavy. There were so many choices she hadn't made yet, so many things she hadn't told the truth about. But soon there would be no way to hide anymore. When the truth came out, what would be left of the life she knew? At Castillo Technologies, Leonardo was in an important meeting, but he couldn't focus. Numbers and charts flashed on the screen, but his mind was somewhere else. He kept thinking about Valeria and the baby. Something about her reaction yesterday had stayed with him. "Mr. Castillo?" a voice said, pulling him back to the present. "About the merger with Rivera Industries." "We'll wait on that," Leonardo said, surprising everyone. "I have other things to deal with." When the meeting ended, Camila stayed behind. "Leonardo, are you okay?" she asked. "You seem distracted." "I'm fine," he said. "It's just something personal." "Your housekeeper?" Camila raised an eyebrow. "I heard she's pregnant." Leonardo's body stiffened. "Miss Turner's personal life is not for office gossip," he said firmly. At the mansion, Valeria was organizing the closet when she found an old photo of Leonardo and his ex-wife, Natalia. Their divorce had been a huge story in Los Angeles 5 years ago. Natalia had cheated on Leonardo with his best friend. After that, Leonardo never let anyone get close to him. "Except that night," Valeria whispered, touching her belly. "Talking to yourself?" Leonardo's voice made her jump. She dropped the photo. "Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you," he said. "I thought you'd be at work all day." "I canceled some meetings," he said, picking up the picture. He looked at it for a moment before putting it in a drawer. "We need to talk about your doctor's appointments." "Leonardo, I told you I don't need." "Please," he cut her off gently. "Let me help, not as your boss, as a friend." The word friend felt heavy. Valeria's heart pounded. "I made an appointment with Dr. Lauren Emilio. She's one of the best baby doctors in Beverly Hills," he said, "for tomorrow." "You can't just make decisions for me," Valeria said. "Your pregnancy?" a sharp voice interrupted. Camila stood in the doorway, eyes wide with surprise. "Well," she said, "this explains a lot." "Camila, what are you doing here?" Leonardo asked, his voice serious. "I came to bring the papers you forgot," she said, still staring at Valeria. "But it looks like I walked into something much more interesting." The room felt tense. Valeria could see Camila thinking, putting pieces together in her mind. "Miss Rojas," Valeria started. Camila held up her hand. "Go ahead, finish your talk. Leonardo, can I speak to you in private?" After they left, Valeria let herself panic for a moment. Camila was not someone who kept secrets. The look she had given Valeria was enough to know she was figuring things out. In his office, Leonardo was frustrated. "It's none of your business," he told Camila. "Anything that affects your image is my business." Camila said, "A pregnant housekeeper living in your house? People will talk." "Let them talk," Camila softened her voice. "I'm just trying to protect you." "After Natalia." "Don't mention Natalia," Leonardo snapped, "and Valeria has nothing to do with it." That evening, Leonardo found Valeria by the pool. The sunset painted the sky pink and orange. "I'm sorry about Camila," he's sitting beside her. "She can be intense." "She's just doing her job," Valeria said, though she felt sick thinking about it. "No, she's pushing too far." Leonardo looked at her. "Valeria, I know something else is bothering you. You can tell me." It was the perfect moment to tell him the truth. The quiet garden, the kindness in his eyes. But then she remembered Natalia, the betrayal, how Leonardo had shut himself off after that. Just normal worries of a single mom. She lied. Leonardo studied her. "You know what I admire most about you? Your strength. From day one, you never needed anyone to fight your battles." "Some battles are too hard to fight alone," she whispered. "That's why you're not alone anymore," he said, placing his hand over hers. The touch was warm, familiar, like that night. For a moment, Valeria saw something in Leonardo's eyes, like he remembered too. Then his phone rang, a reminder of the real world. As he answered, Valeria looked at the pool's reflection. The truth was like that, sometimes clear, sometimes blurry, but always there, waiting to come out. The next day, Valeria went to her doctor's appointment. Leonardo sat next to her in the waiting room like it was the most normal thing. "Miss Turner," the nurse called. "The doctor is ready." "Want me to come?" Leonardo asked. "No, I'll go alone," Valeria said. Dr. Emilio was kind. "You're 12 weeks along, right?" Valeria nodded nervously. She lay down for the ultrasound. "Leonardo Castillo is very protective," the doctor said. He called to make sure you got the best care. Then Valeria heard it, the baby's heartbeat, strong and steady. Tears filled her eyes. Your due date is January 15th, Dr. Emilio said. Valeria's heart stopped. She remembered that night. The night of the charity event, the night everything changed. Later, Leonardo stood up when he saw her. Everything okay? Perfect, she said, holding the baby's picture close. Can I see? He asked. Valeria watched as his face softened, his smile real. It's amazing, he whispered. I can see the little fingers. On the drive home, the car was quiet. Leonardo finally spoke. Camila planned a charity lunch tomorrow. I can cancel if you're not feeling well. You don't have to change your plans for me, Valeria said. Leonardo pulled up in front of the mansion and turned to her. When will you accept that I care about you? Leonardo's voice was so gentle and kind that Valeria almost told him everything. Sitting in his fancy car, she wanted to say the truth, but then his phone rang. It was Camila, of course, talking about a big problem with the news and his company. That night, Valeria couldn't sleep. She sat by her bedroom window, looking at the bright lights of Los Angeles. Her phone buzzed. It was her younger sister, Daniela. Daniela had seen the baby's ultrasound picture and sent a message. When are you going to tell him? Valeria sighed and typed back, It's not that simple. It's exactly as simple as you make it, Daniela replied. Valeria heard a noise in the hallway. It was Leonardo, still in his suit, looking tired after a long day of work. Still awake, he asked softly. I can't sleep, Valeria admitted. Me neither. Leonardo leaned against the door. Do you want to talk? Valeria hesitated. Could she tell him? What would he say? Leonardo looked at her with kindness, and it reminded her of that special night. Sometimes, Leonardo said, I think about that night after the charity event, when my mom... Valeria's heart pounded. Did he remember? That night was the first time I let someone see the real me since Natalia, Leonardo admitted. You're different, Valeria. Leonardo, No, he interrupted. You don't have to say anything. I just want you to know that no matter who the father of this baby is, you have a place here with me. Valeria felt her throat tighten. How could he be so close, yet not know the truth? Tomorrow, she promised herself. Tomorrow, she would tell him everything. Leonardo smiled. Get some rest. The baby needs it. After he left, Valeria picked up the ultrasound picture and traced the tiny shape of her baby. Tomorrow, she thought, tomorrow everything would change. But Valeria didn't know that Camila Rojas had other plans. That night, Camila searched through old papers, looking for clues about Valeria's pregnancy. Her instincts told her she was about to discover a big secret. The next day, the Castillo mansion was filled with guests for a fancy charity lunch. The garden was decorated beautifully, with tables covered in white flowers and fancy tablecloths. Valeria was making sure everything was perfect when she felt Camila's sharp gaze on her. Camila whispered something to a group of rich women, and they all turned to look at Valeria with surprise. Leonardo walked up, adjusting his navy blue tie. I need you to sit with me during lunch. Sir, I don't think that's a good idea. It's more than okay, Leonardo said. You worked hard to plan this event. You belong at the table. The guests whispered as Leonardo pulled out a chair for Valeria at the head table. Across from them, Camila's smile was fake and cold. Before lunch began, Camila stood up, raising her champagne glass. I'd like to make a special toast. Valeria felt sick, but not just because of her pregnancy. Camila's tone sent chills down her spine. To Castillo Technologies, Camila said, a company led by Leonardo Castillo, a man who is not only successful, but also very responsible. Speaking of responsibility, let's talk about some important dates. Leonardo frowned. Camila, this isn't the time. The charity event in honor of your mother was exactly 12 weeks ago, wasn't it? Camila asked, ignoring him. The same night you were sad and needed comfort. Valeria's face turned pale. How did Camila know? And, Camila continued, flipping through her papers, I found medical records that show a certain employee is also 12 weeks pregnant. Silence filled the garden. Leonardo looked at Camilla, then at Valeria, his face slowly changing from confused to shocked. "Valeria?" he whispered. Valeria's hands shook. "I was going to tell you today," she said, tears forming in her eyes. After lunch, the guests whispered to each other, texting the latest gossip. Leonardo stood up quickly, his chair scraping against the floor. "Everyone, please leave," he said firmly. "Lunch is canceled." Camilla tried to protest. "Leonardo, what will you tell the press?" "Get out," he ordered, his eyes never leaving Valeria. The guests hurried away. Valeria sat frozen, her hands clutching her napkin. The garden, once filled with laughter, was now silent except for the fountain's soft trickle. "Why didn't you tell me?" Leonardo finally asked. Valeria stood up, feeling nervous. "Because you barely remember that night. You were hurting. You lost your mother." "I remember everything," Leonardo said. "I remember how you comforted me, how you saw me when no one else did." "Then why didn't you say anything?" "Because I thought you wanted to forget. After Natalia, I was scared of losing someone else." Valeria let her tears fall. "I was afraid of losing my job, of people thinking I was using you." Leonardo stepped closer, cupping her face in his hands. "Do you think I'd ever see you that way?" "No," she whispered. "But after what happened with your ex-wife, I didn't want to hurt you more. The only thing that hurts is knowing you carried this alone for so long." A tiny kick made Valeria place her hand on her belly. Leonardo covered her hand with his. "Our son," he whispered. "We have a lot to figure out." "And Camilla?" Valeria asked. "She's fired," Leonardo said. "What she did was terrible." "And the press? Let them talk," Leonardo said, smiling softly. "I won't hide my feelings anymore. That night meant everything to me." The sun cast a golden glow over the garden, but both of them knew this was just the beginning. The world was watching, and their love would soon be tested. The next morning, Leonardo read the scandalous headlines while Valeria made tea. "Ignore that," Leonardo said. "I've already taken legal action against Camilla." Valeria nodded, her hands trembling. "Maybe I should leave until things calm down." "No way," Leonardo said, holding her hands. "We've hidden for too long, I won't let you go through this alone." Leonardo's phone rang. It was his sister, Isabella. "The board is worried about the company's image," she said. "They should be worried about Camilla breaking the law, not my personal life," Leonardo replied. After the call, the doorbell rang. It was Natalia, Leonardo's ex-wife. She smirked. "So it's true. The great Leonardo Castillo has finally let his guard down." "Natalia, this isn't a good time," Leonardo warned. "Oh, but it is," Natalia said. "I came to tell you that Esteban is planning to use this against you at the next meeting." Esteban was the man Natalia had betrayed Leonardo with, and now he was on the company's board. Leonardo crossed his arms. "Esteban should worry about his own secrets, not mine." After Natalia left, Valeria found Leonardo in his office. He was organizing papers. "I don't want to be the reason you lose everything, Leonardo," Valeria said. Leonardo stopped and turned to look at her. "Valeria, you are not my downfall. You are my hope. After Natalia, I built walls around my heart. I didn't even realize I was locking myself inside. But you," he gently touched her face, "you set me free." Valeria's phone buzzed. It was a message from her sister, Daniela. "Just saw the news. I'm coming on the next flight from Portland." "Is your sister coming?" Leonardo asked, noticing Valeria's worried face. "Yes, she is very protective of me," Valeria said. Leonardo smiled. "That's good because I want to ask for your hand in marriage. It would be nice to have your family's blessing." Valeria was shocked. "Leonardo, you don't have to do this just because I'm pregnant." Leonardo knelt in front of her and took out a small velvet box. "I'm not doing this because of the baby. I'm doing this because I love you." That night wasn't just about comfort or sadness. It was about finding my soulmate in the most unexpected moment. Tears filled Valeria's eyes as he opened the box. Inside was a beautiful platinum ring with a single diamond. It's not the biggest ring in the store, Leonardo admitted, but when I saw it, I thought of you. Simple, elegant, and shining without needing anything extra. Valeria could barely speak. The moment after their night together had been scary. When she found out she was pregnant, she didn't know how to tell him. But now Leonardo was here, choosing her. Even before I knew the baby was mine, I knew I wanted you forever, Leonardo said. Valeria smiled as happy tears fell. Yes, she whispered. 1,000 times, yes. She let Leonardo slide the ring onto her finger. The future was still unknown. There were challenges ahead in work and life, but at that moment, they knew they would face everything together. No longer as a boss and a housekeeper, but as true life partners, bound by love and their little baby. The news of Leonardo Castillo's engagement to his former housekeeper spread everywhere in Los Angeles. The ring on Valeria's finger shone like a light in the middle of all the gossip. On Monday morning, Daniela arrived at the airport. She looked determined, just like she always did when protecting her younger sister. Leonardo decided to pick her up himself. Valeria was surprised. As soon as Daniela got into Leonardo's fancy car, she ignored any formal greetings. So, you're the billionaire who got my sister pregnant. Daniela, Valeria scolded. Leonardo smiled calmly. I'm the man who loves your sister. Everything else is just details. Daniela studied Leonardo from the back seat the whole way home, watching his every move. And what happened? And what happens when you get tired of playing happy family? Daniela, please. Valeria started, but Leonardo gently stopped her. That's a fair question, he said, parking the car at his mansion. After Natalia betrayed me, I spent 5 years building walls around myself. Your sister didn't just break those walls, she reminded me that I still have a heart. Inside the mansion, Leonardo's sister, Isabella Castillo, was waiting with documents. We need to talk about tomorrow's board meeting, Isabella said. Esteban is trying to turn investors against you. What is he saying? Daniela asked, her protective side showing again. They are accusing Leonardo of using his power to take advantage of an employee, Isabella explained. That's ridiculous, Valeria protested. I would never. We know, dear, Isabella reassured her, but we need to be ready for a fight. Esteban won't give up easily. Leonardo thought for a moment, holding Valeria's hand. Maybe it's time to tell our real story. Leonardo, no, Valeria said. You don't have to share your pain. My mother's death destroyed me, Leonardo said, looking into her eyes. That night, you weren't just an employee comforting me. You were the first person in years who saw me as just Leonardo, not as a rich CEO. Daniela was silent, watching them closely. Her posture softened. I'll arrange an exclusive interview, Isabella decided. We need someone we trust. Mariana Torres, Leonardo suggested. She's always been fair in her reporting. As they planned, Valeria suddenly felt sick. Leonardo quickly helped her to the couch. Isabella made a note. We need to show the world that this isn't a scandal. It's a love story, a family story. But what if people don't believe it? Valeria asked softly. Then let them not believe it, Leonardo said. I'm done living to please investors. I'm living for my family. Daniela folded her arms. I came here ready to hate you, Leonardo Castillo. But maybe, just maybe, my sister has found one of the few good men left. The doorbell rang. It was Mariana Torres, the journalist, ready to hear their story. During the interview, Leonardo talked about losing his mother and how Valeria had been his safe place. Valeria shared her fears about the pregnancy and why she kept it a secret at first. What do you say to people who think your love isn't real? Mariana asked. Leonardo looked at Valeria and smiled. I'd say that sometimes life takes you on strange paths to bring you where you need to be. The next morning, at Castillo Technologies, the boardroom was full. Leonardo was about to face one of the biggest moments of his life. Valeria, Daniela, and Isabella watched the meeting on the mansion's TV. Reactions to the interview are positive, Isabella reported. Some investors are changing their minds. But Esteban still has influence. Inside the meeting, Esteban stood up. Leonardo has put this company in danger by having a relationship with an employee. Leonardo stayed calm. Let's talk facts, he said. He turned on a big screen showing the company's success under his leadership. Our company has tripled its value in 5 years. We expanded to 3 continents. We helped 50,000 families. That doesn't erase your mistake, Esteban sneered. Leonardo plugged in a USB drive. Interesting you talk about ethics, Esteban. Let's talk about yours. The screen changed. It showed secret emails and bank transfers. Esteban's face turned pale. What is this? Evidence that you stole company money, Leonardo said. Isabella has been collecting this for months. Back at the mansion, Isabella smiled. Never trust a man who betrays his friends. They always have more secrets. Esteban panicked. This is a trick. Leonardo moved closer. The real problem is Natalia never loved you, and now you can't stand that I found someone who truly loves me. The room went silent. Leonardo's old mentor spoke up. Let's vote. Who supports Leonardo staying as CEO? One by one, hands went up. 10 in favor, 2 against. Leonardo stays. Esteban was defeated. Back home, Valeria let out a relieved sigh. Daniela hugged her. Isabella was already texting the legal team. When Leonardo arrived, he sat beside Valeria in the garden. How are you? She asked. Better now, he said, placing his hand on her belly. Esteban resigned. The police will handle him. I'm sorry you had to go through that because of me, Valeria said. Because of us, Leonardo corrected, and it was worth every moment. Daniela came to the garden door and said, I hate to interrupt, but Dr. Emilio is on the phone. He wants to talk about the test results. Valeria's heart started beating fast, but Leonardo held her hand to comfort her. They went to the office together to take the call. The doctor sounded excited. I have great news. All the tests are perfect. And if you want to know, it's a girl. Valeria's eyes filled with happy tears. Leonardo hugged her from behind, feeling just as happy. Her body shook a little with emotions. A girl, he whispered, amazed. Our little warrior. Have you thought of a name? Daniela asked, smiling. Leonardo and Valeria looked at each other. Grace, they said together. Like your mother, Valeria explained to Daniela. Leonardo's smile was big and bright. Grace Castillo. It's perfect. That night, the family gathered on the balcony in Beverly Hills. Isabella brought non-alcoholic champagne to celebrate. They were happy about winning the council decision and also about the baby. The air felt full of happiness and dreams for the future. Now that everyone knew about Grace, the Castillo mansion became even busier. Leonardo worked hard to turn one of the big bedrooms into a princess room for their baby. He hired decorators and ignored the budget, making Valeria laugh. Leonardo, she doesn't need a fancy crystal chandelier, Valeria said, watching the workers put it up. She won't even notice it for years. But I will, Leonardo said with a playful smile, hugging Valeria from behind. And so will you when you're rocking her in the middle of the night. The media still followed them sometimes, but people loved their love story. After an interview with a journalist named Mariana Torres, magazines called them a modern fairy tale. When pictures of them shopping for baby furniture appeared online, everyone was even more interested. Isabella saw a chance to use the attention for business. She created a new line of baby products under the Castillo brand. We're entering a billion-dollar market, she said at dinner. And who better to be the face of the campaign than our own family? Daniela, who decided to stay longer in Los Angeles, helped Isabella with the advertising. People love a good redemption story, Daniela said, showing the positive comments online. And you two are the perfect example of love overcoming obstacles. But not everyone was happy for them. Camila Rojas, who was still angry about being fired, started doing interviews. Valeria planned everything, Camila said on a podcast. She knew exactly what she was doing. She took advantage of Leonardo's sadness after his mother died to make sure she stayed in the Castillo family. Valeria felt hurt when she heard this. That night, Leonardo found her crying in the garden. Don't listen to her, Leonardo said softly, sitting next to her. Camila is just upset. But what if people believe her? Valeria asked, placing her hands on her belly. What if Grace grows up hearing that her mother is just a gold digger? Leonardo held her face gently. His deep blue eyes looked into hers. Our daughter will grow up knowing she was born from true love, that her mother is the strongest, kindest woman I have ever met, and that she changed my life in ways I never expected. Just then, the doorbell rang. It was Albert Chin, a board member and Leonardo's mentor. He hardly ever visited without calling first. He smiled and handed Leonardo an envelope. Inside was a resignation letter from Camila Rojas. Her interviews hurt her more than you, Albert explained. 3 big clients canceled their contracts with her company in the last 24 hours. Valeria felt a weight lift off her shoulders. Leonardo squeezed her hand. Looks like karma took care of everything. Speaking of which, Daniela said, I got an offer to move my office to Los Angeles. Are you staying? Valeria asked hopefully. Of course, Daniela said with a big smile. I can't miss watching my niece grow up, and Isabella offered me a great job in the company. In the following days, Valeria felt at peace. She was now leading a charity group that Leonardo had encouraged her to start. In the afternoons, she focused on getting ready for Grace. Leonardo never missed a doctor's appointment. Every time they heard Grace's heartbeat on the ultrasound, he looked amazed. She already has a personality, Dr. Ben said. She moves more when she hears her dad's voice. At home, Leonardo had a routine. Every night, he read stories to Valeria's belly. His favorites were fairy tales where love always won. Our story is better than any fairy tale, he said one night after reading Beauty and the Beast. Because it's real. Because we choose each other every day, even when it's not easy. Valeria looked at him, seeing the powerful businessman that the world knew, but also the loving husband and soon-to-be father that only she got to see. You've changed so much since the first night we met. No, Leonardo corrected her softly. You changed me. You showed me that being open isn't a weakness, it's a strength. Right then, Grace kicked extra hard, making them both laugh. See? Leonardo smiled, kissing Valeria's belly. Even our daughter agrees. A week before the wedding, Valeria stood in front of a mirror in a fancy dress shop. She was now 6 months pregnant, and Isabella and Daniela helped adjust her wedding dress. Leonardo's going to be shocked when he sees you, Daniela teased, fixing the lace veil. In a good way, of course, Isabella added. Isabella had insisted on the wedding happening before the baby was born. You're already a family, she said. Let's make it official. The media was crazy about the wedding. Everyone online was making guesses about the dress, the cake, and the guest list. But Leonardo and Valeria wanted the ceremony to be small and special. Miss Turner, the dressmaker said, we need to adjust the waist again. Grace keeps growing. Valeria laughed. She kicks the most when she hears her dad's voice. At that moment, her phone buzzed. It was Leonardo. Meeting finished early. Can I pick you up? No way. Isabella grabbed the phone before Valeria could reply. You can't see the dress before the wedding, little brother. As Isabella texted a firm no to Leonardo, Valeria noticed someone outside the store. It was Natalia, watching them from across the street. But this time, she didn't look angry. She looked sad. She's out there, Valeria said softly. Daniela looked ready to fight, but Isabella stopped her. Leave it. I think I know what she wants. To everyone's surprise, Natalia walked into the store. She looked at Valeria's dress and for the first time didn't say anything mean. You look beautiful, Natalia said. The dress is perfect. Everyone was silent. Finally, Isabella asked, What do you want, Natalia? Natalia took out a small box. This is from Grace, Leonardo's mother. She gave it to me when we got married. She said it should go to the woman who truly loves her son. Valeria took the box with shaking hands. Inside was a beautiful sapphire and diamond brooch. I never really loved Leonardo, Natalia admitted. I married him for what he could give me. But you love him for who he is. Before anyone could say anything else, Natalia turned to leave. Take care of him, okay? And tell Grace her grandmother would have loved her name. The brooch shimmered in the light. It brings good luck and love, Isabella said, pinning it onto Valeria's dress. Later that night, Leonardo held Valeria and whispered, Mom always said the brooch would find its true home, and now it has. Valeria smiled. More than Castillo technology? More than anything in the world, Leonardo said. You and Grace are my true legacy. Isabella worked with a team to make the garden look like a magical fairy tale. Daniela made sure every little detail of the big dinner was perfect. Leonardo walked into Valeria's office and found her looking at some papers for the charity she now led. Her tummy was big because she was 6 months pregnant, and she looked beautiful in her navy blue dress. Leonardo smiled, thinking about how much her life had changed in such a short time. I have a surprise for you, he said, holding a golden envelope. Valeria took it and opened it with curiosity. Her eyes grew big when she read what was inside. The house on Martha's Vineyard? She asked. The house where I grew up, Leonardo said with a smile. I had it fixed up over the last few months. I thought we could spend our honeymoon there, and maybe one day Grace can spend her summers there. Tears filled Valeria's eyes. It happened a lot now that she was pregnant. But you haven't been back there since my mom passed away, Leonardo finished softly. I think it's time to make new memories, to start our own traditions. Just then, Isabella walked in, holding an old box. I found this in the attic. I think you should see it, she said. Inside the box were old family photo albums and letters that had turned yellow over time. At the very bottom, there was an envelope. On it, in neat handwriting, were the words, To my son, Leonardo. Open this when you find true love. Leonardo's hands shook as he picked up the letter. He knew his mother's handwriting immediately. Valeria held his hand, giving him the strength to open it. Dear Leonardo, he read, his voice breaking. If you are reading this, it means you have finally found someone who broke down the walls around your heart. Someone who loves you not for the company your father and I built, but for the wonderful person you are. Valeria squeezed his hand gently. The sapphire brooch in our family isn't just a piece of jewelry. It is a sign of true love. When your father met me, I was just a teacher in a small town. People said we were too different, but our love proved that money and titles don't matter when two hearts truly meet. Isabella wiped away a tear as Leonardo kept reading. My biggest regret is not being there to see you find your true love, but I know in my heart that you will choose someone who makes you a better person, someone who sees the little boy who used to read stories to birds in the garden. Valeria smiled, remembering how Leonardo read stories to Grace every night. The real treasure of the Castillo family is not in money or business. It is in love, family, and traditions. Take care of that love, my son. Sometimes the greatest gifts in life come in the most unexpected ways. With all my love, Mama. Silence filled the room. Just then, baby Grace kicked inside Valeria's tummy as if she wanted to be part of the moment. She knows, Leonardo whispered, placing a gentle hand on Valeria's belly. Somehow, Mom knew you would come into my life. Daniela walked in, holding her tablet. Sorry to interrupt, but we need to pick the wedding flowers. She stopped when she saw the emotions in the room. Isabella quickly told her about the letter, and soon all four of them, Isabella, Daniela, Valeria, and baby Grace, shared that special moment. You know what this means, don't you? Isabella said, picking up an old photo album. It's time to remember some Castillo family traditions. The next few hours were filled with laughter and tears as they looked at old photos. They saw Leonardo's parents dancing, Christmas celebrations, and happy family moments. This is what I want for our family, Leonardo said, kissing Valeria's forehead. Not just a big business, but memories and traditions. And we'll make our own, Valeria promised, imagining Grace growing up surrounded by love. The week before the wedding turned the Castillo house into a busy place. From the bedroom balcony, Valeria watched as a team set up a beautiful gazebo where she and Leonardo would say their vows. Baby Grace kicked excitedly, as if she could feel the happiness. "I thought I'd find you here," Leonardo said, bringing 2 cups of tea. "Isabella is looking for you for the final dress fitting." "I just needed a moment," Valeria said, taking the tea. "It still feels like a dream." Leonardo placed his tea down and hugged her from behind, his hands resting on her tummy. "If it's a dream, we're dreaming together." Just then, the sound of helicopters filled the sky. The news had spread, and now reporters were trying to take photos of the wedding. "Maybe we should have listened to Isabella and gotten married in Martha's Vineyard," Valeria sighed. "No," Leonardo said firmly. "This is our home. This is where our story began." Daniela ran in, holding her tablet. "You need to see this." It was an interview with Esteban Morrison, a former company board member. He looked at the camera with a mean smile. "It's strange how everything worked out so perfectly for Miss Turner," he said, hinting that Valeria had planned everything. Leonardo angrily turned off the TV. "We're suing him." Valeria gently touched his arm. "That's what he wants. More drama." "She's right," Daniela agreed. "Besides, look at this." She showed messages from employees and charity workers, all supporting Leonardo and Valeria. One message stood out. It was from Natalia. "I've known Leonardo for years, and I've never seen him as happy as he is now. Love can be found in the most unexpected places, but that doesn't make it any less real." Valeria wiped away tears. Leonardo hugged her close. "See?" he whispered. "Even Natalia knows what's obvious to everyone." That night, Leonardo found Valeria in the nursery, arranging baby clothes. "I found something today," Leonardo said, sitting next to her. He pulled out an old photograph. In it, his mother, Grace Castillo, was holding baby Leonardo, her smile full of love. "She was beautiful," Valeria said softly. "Yes, and you have the same look she had, the look of someone who will do anything to protect the people they love." Baby Grace kicked hard, making them both laugh. "I think she agrees," Valeria joked. Isabella knocked on the door. "Sorry to interrupt, but we need to pick the wedding flowers." "White," Leonardo and Valeria said at the same time. Isabella rolled her eyes. "You're already annoying. I can't wait to see what you'll be like after you say I do." Later that night, Leonardo read a bedtime story to Valeria's belly. It was Sleeping Beauty, Grace's favorite. "Our story is better than a fairy tale," Valeria said sleepily. "Why?" Leonardo asked. "Because it's real, and we choose each other every day." Leonardo pulled her close, "And we'll keep choosing each other forever." The morning of the wedding arrived with a soft breeze. Valeria woke up alone in her old room. Isabella had insisted that she and Leonardo follow the tradition of not seeing each other 24 hours before the wedding. "Ready for the big day?" Daniela asked, bringing breakfast as a team of stylists came in to get Valeria ready. Valeria was feeling nervous. She gently touched her belly and smiled. "Grace hasn't stopped moving all night. I think she is excited," she said. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from Leonardo. "I miss you already. See you at the altar. P.S. Grace, let your mommy rest." Just then, Isabella arrived with Valeria's wedding dress. It was beautiful and made to show her baby bump instead of hiding it. Some people on the internet talked about it because it was different from what brides usually wear. "The security guards are all around the place," Isabella said, making sure no photographers would ruin the big day. At the same time, in another room, Leonardo was fixing his tie for the 3rd time. He was nervous too. Then Albert, his best man, knocked on the door. He held a small wooden box. "Your father wore these cufflinks at his wedding," Albert said, opening the box. Inside were 2 sapphire cufflinks. They matched the brooch Valeria will wear. "He would be proud of you, especially after all the problems you faced." Albert smiled. "You chose love over what people think. Your father always respected that, even if he didn't say it." Outside, the garden looked like a magical fairy tale. White orchids and little twinkling lights decorated the gazebo. Only 100 special guests were there, including business people, charity workers, and close family members. Natalia arrived quietly and sat in the back. Leonardo and Valeria were happy she was there because it showed that past problems were behind them. In Valeria's room, everyone was busy getting her ready. The dress fit perfectly, with its soft lace and elegant design. The Castillo family's sapphire brooch was pinned close to her heart. Something blue, Daniela said, adjusting the brooch, and something old, Valeria smiled. Something new is definitely Grace, Isabella joked, making everyone laugh. The baby kicked as if she agreed. And something borrowed, a voice said from the doorway. It was Dr. Emilio. He held a pearl bracelet. My grandmother wore this at her wedding. It brings luck to the first baby. Valeria felt tears in her eyes. I never imagined having a family like this. Well, get used to it, Daniela laughed, fixing her sister's makeup. The Castillos and the Turners are one family now. In the garden, Leonardo stood under the gazebo, his heart pounding. Albert stood beside him as the best man. The first notes of Can't Help Falling in Love played on a violin. The guests stood up. Daniela and Isabella walked down the aisle first in their navy blue dresses. Then Valeria appeared. The world seemed to stop. The golden sunlight made her glow as she walked down the flower-lined path. Her dress moved beautifully, and her baby bump made her look even more special. The sapphire brooch sparkled like a little star. Leonardo felt tears run down his face. She was no longer just his housekeeper. She was his love, the mother of his child, his forever partner. When Valeria finally reached him, Grace kicked inside her belly. Both parents smiled at each other. I think she wants to be part of the wedding, Leonardo whispered. Valeria laughed, happy tears in her eyes. The officiant started the ceremony, but for Leonardo and Valeria, nothing else mattered except their love. When it was time for the vows, they spoke from their hearts. You taught me that being vulnerable isn't weak, Leonardo said, his voice breaking. Sometimes we have to lose everything to find what really matters. Valeria smiled. You showed me that true love doesn't care about rich or poor. Family isn't just about blood, but about choosing to stay and grow together. They exchanged rings, simple platinum bands with their initials inside. The sun painted the sky in shades of pink and gold. I now pronounce you husband and wife, the officiant said. They kissed, but Grace kicked again, making everyone laugh. Leonardo bent down and spoke to Valeria's belly. Yes, princess, we love you too. Their love story had started with a simple, unexpected night. Now they were a family. Under the gazebo, surrounded by orchids and the golden Beverly Hills sky, Leonardo and Valeria Castillo began their new life. Not as boss and housekeeper, but as husband and wife, as parents, as two souls who had found their home in each other. 3 months later, the Castillo mansion was filled with the sweet sound of Grace's first cry. She was born early in January, at home, in the very room where Valeria had first learned she was pregnant. Leonardo held his daughter for the first time, looking into her deep blue eyes. She's perfect, he whispered. Valeria smiled. Absolutely perfect. The world talked about their baby, but the Castillos kept the moment private, sharing just one picture. Grace sleeping peacefully in her crib, the antique sapphire brooch framed above her. One night, Valeria watched Leonardo rock Grace to sleep. I still remember how scared I was when I found out I was pregnant, she whispered. Leonardo sat beside her on the bed. And look at us now. You turned this mansion into a real home, Valeria. Not just for us, but for everyone. Their family had grown. Daniela moved to Los Angeles to run the media division of Castillo Technologies. Isabella was planning a new line of baby products that had become surprisingly popular. Even Natalia had found a new purpose, that helping young women start businesses through the Castillo Foundation. Mr. Castillo? The housekeeper, Emma, spoke through the intercom. Mr. Chin is here for your meeting. Albert Chin, now the chairman of Castillo Technologies, was like a loving grandfather to Grace. His meetings at the mansion always ended with him telling funny stories about Leonardo's childhood. Did Grandpa Albert bring any embarrassing stories about Daddy? Leonardo joked, carrying Grace downstairs. Albert laughed. Actually, I brought something else. He pulled out an envelope. The board approved your idea, Valeria. All Castillo employees will now get longer parental leave. Valeria's eyes filled with happy tears. This will help so many families. It was your idea, Valeria, Leonardo said. You always see beyond money and business. You see real people. Grace gave a sleepy smile, the same smile that melted even the most serious business people. She has her mother's smile, Albert said, the one that makes everyone feel special. Months passed, and the Castillo family found their rhythm. Leonardo worked from home more, holding meetings by video so he could be with his family. Valeria ran the charity and helped people in need. One afternoon, while they were having a picnic, Grace spoke her first word. "Mommy," she babbled, making Valeria's heart melt. Leonardo gasped. "She said mommy first." Valeria laughed. "Don't worry, Daddy will be next." She watched as Grace played with a tiny sapphire necklace, a special gift Leonardo had made for her, just like the family brooch. The mansion, once a symbol of business power, had become a real home filled with laughter and love. One night, Valeria and Leonardo stood on the balcony watching the stars. "Sometimes I wonder if all of this is real," she whispered. Leonardo pulled her close. "It's more real than any dream. You and Grace are my favorite reality." Their love story had started in an unexpected way. A housekeeper with a secret and a CEO who lost everything had found true love. Their story proved that love doesn't care about money or titles. Family is about choosing to stay and love no matter what. And under the starry sky of Beverly Hills, Leonardo and Valeria Castillo continued writing their story, not as boss and housekeeper, but as husband and wife, as parents, as two souls who had finally found home in each other. Thanks for watching. If you liked the story, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Check out our other videos too. See you in the next one.